Um, right, on to video games.
Yes, your news little
Yeah.
segment.
So months ago, Spider-Man remastered
Hmm.
came to Steam,
It did.
and I bought that bitch and I played it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also playing that game again in my free time as well. Because I'm still trying to 100% it. Cause I've never 100%ed a video game before because ADHD
Wow.
go brr. So I finish story and then just dip.
Wow.
But I'm grinding this game to 100% no matter how many attempts it takes me. But on my streams, I've been playing through the Miles Morales story because that came out in December. But
Hmm.
I didn't buy it because I knew once I bought it, I'd want to stream it, and I wasn't in the right place to be streaming.
Yeah.
So it was on sale over Christmas, so I got it cheaper than I should have anyway.
Nice.
And I bought it, and I was like, in the new year, that's how we're getting our foot back in the door of content. Um, this game, I mean, I've put it in the notes that I sent to you. It is the definitive superhero game.
That doesn't
So
surprise me.
Spider-Man and the Batman Arkham games get compared a lot because
Mm.
like the core gameplay loop is pretty simple. Go here, do this thing. You're going to use gadgets. There's going to be some stealth. There's going to be some loud. You can kind of do it however you want for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But stealth is easier and there's a lot of freedom over how you want to be a superhero for a lot of it.
Yeah.
My big thing was the Arkham games didn't look as good because they were older, which is fair.
Well, yeah.
But the combat was a bit crisper than Spider-Man Remastered.
Yeah. I
The
think it's more
combat
just the combat in a way was a bit simpler.
Potentially. The combat in Spider-Man Miles Morales is so crisp.
Nice.
It's so good. I can't believe it. They simplified the side missions and all the tokens to unlock suits. So they kind of got the grind is still the same, but it's not as confusing. There's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
7 different tokens that you need to collect to unlock stuff. It's
Right.
just
Okay.
like there are 2 things you need to collect. You'll use them to unlock everything.
Fair.
So there's just as much to
Yeah.
do, but
The
it's less
game.
complicated.
The gameplay mechanics have been simplified down a little
Yes,
bit.
exactly. The story might be a touch weaker than Spider-Man was, the remastered Spider-Man was,
Mm.
but the Spider-Man Miles Morales game was also like 17 hours shorter.
Right. Well then. Yeah.
So like you can't have as complicated and big a story.
No, you can't.
I think that although they didn't release any DLC for Miles Morales because they just started working on Spider-Man 2 instead,
Mm.
I genuinely believe they could have taken Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Morales and just released 2 DLCs a year for that for the next 5 years, and no one would have made a fuss.
Probably.
And then they could have spent 2 years just working on whatever, and then the last 3 years of that working on a replacement for them 2 games. And then just repeat, and it's like 5-year cycles of Spider-Man games. And the only thing they'd really need to improve would be like graphics and all of that kind of stuff.
I wonder if
But
they've
it's just they're so good.
decided to get going with the second Spider-Man so they could streamline it closer to how Miles Morales was. With
Maybe.
like those things you said, those changes that are different.
Quite possibly. But if you have a PlayStation or the ability to play or a PC, I cannot recommend them enough. I think the easiest way for me to explain it is I don't 100% games. I literally never have, and I've been gaming since I was 8 years old. I fully intend on 100% in both these games and potentially 100% in the new game pluses. And that's 100%
Absolutely
in the
hot.
first Spider-Man game, including the 3 DLCs for Spider-Man Remastered.
Jeez.
So like, it's a lot of hours of content.
Yeah.
In fact, let me open my Steam so far right now and see how many hours I've already put into Spider-Man Remastered.
I can already tell
Memento.
you're gonna have to pump those numbers up. True.
So I've
Steam
already
gamers.
spent
There we go.
30 hours on Spider-Man Remastered.
Gotta get
And
that into
I've got
triple figures. Come on.
and I've still got an entire DLC to play, and the other two to finish off like little side bits, as well as all the side bits for the main campaign and New Game Plus.
Jeez, there's a lot. That is a lot.
There's so much content, and the best bit is like I stopped playing it for what 3 months in between. Literally didn't even look at it.
Yeah,
But then I started playing Miles, and I was like, okay, I want to play more of this game, but I can't play it off stream. So I
yeah.
just go back to the other one to grind it.
To play the one that you've already
Yeah.
streamed.
So like instead of getting in from work and playing 2 hours of COD grinding camos, I'm now
Ah,
playing
so
I'm now
fun.
playing 2 hours of Spider-Man grinding suits. It's the same thing, just a lot more fun.
Wait till you get to Tarkov.
Mate, you know what? That is going to be the only thing that slows me down on 100% in it.
Yeah, because
Eventually, even if it takes me 2 years, I will.
yeah, we will announce it on the podcast. Don't worry.
Yeah. It
So
will be
make sure
it'll be a big moment.
make sure you stay listening to what happens
Yeah.
because
Just episode 150. The only topic is going to be how I finally 100% did a game.
it's going to be a solo episode, so Connor can just go through the entire game.
Anyway, if you have any inclination towards superhero games, or if you played any of the Batman Arkham games and really enjoyed them, give it a go. You
Here's
can,
hope.
and here's something that a lot of gamers are really weird about. If you need to set it to the easiest difficulty to enjoy it, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
There's a really weird kind of consensus that if you're not playing on the most maxed out stupid difficulty, that you're not
Well,
playing the game properly. It's
I
like
feel
no,
like it's that thing of like
I
if you're not
I
at least
blame
playing on
Souls
normal.
games.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's like it went back into the day of like COD campaigns and Halo campaigns. I think what it came from is I do think it came from like Halo campaigns of like Halo Legendary was really hard. So it was like an achievement to do the games on Legendary and like a bit of a flex. So then now it's like, oh, if you're doing it on anything less than normal, you're not really gaming.
Yeah. But the
Um
stories in these two games are good
yeah.
enough that if you're not a particularly good gamer, or you don't want the stress of having to
Well,
like
it's like
worry
you're
about boss
playing a
fights,
story game
play
for
on
the
the easiest level.
story, not to be like
100%.
a pro at the combat of Spider-Man.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
it'll be interesting to see if the Wolverine game is done just as well as this
I
Spider-Man
really hope it
games.
is. The only thing I'm curious about is how they're going to handle movement throughout the location. Because for Batman, you've got like his grappling hook and then his gliding. With Spider-Man, you've got his webs. I don't know how you do that with Wolverine.
It depends on well,
Unless they give. Oh, imagine if they give us his bike.
yeah, they actually might.
Nut.
You might get a bike,
You
and
could have a lot of fun with that.
you can also, depending on the settings, like he can climb like using his claws and stuff and traverse that way.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have a solution for that. Insomniac make good games.
Yeah.
I trust them.